Good morning, class 12 children of Bio Group. Today we'll be dealing with the third part of the video of chapter 8, which is evidences and theories of biological evolution. In the second part of the previous video, we had concluded with the description of the geological time scale, wherein I was talking about eras, periods, and epochs. I was talking about. Now I'm continuing from there. Let us come to the first era, which is the Archaeozoic era. And in this era, we see that there were no fossil records found because usually the animalcules were unicellular, the organisms were unicellular during this time. And then let's come to the next era, which is Proterozoic era. And in this era, we see that there were blue-green algae and bacteria, and also there were the simple marine invertebrates which came up in this era. And after this we come to the Paleozoic era. Now this Paleozoic era is divided into several periods. Let us take them one by one, and we will see how evolution shows the development of simpler forms of animals or plants into their higher forms. So we see the first period of Paleozoic era, which is Cambrian period. In Cambrian period, we see this was the origin of algae in plants, and in animals the invertebrate trilobites were found. Then we quickly come on to the next period, which was Ordovician period. And in this period, there was a dominance of marine and green algae. And also, on the other hand, we see origin of jawless fishes among animals. Then we'll come to Silurian period. And Silurian period shows the origin of land plants, and there were jawed fishes. There were no more fishes without jaws, but these were jawed fishes, and also this showed winged insects. Then we come to the Devonian period. In the Devonian period, we see that there were vascular plants which appeared, and in animals, amphibians and fishes appeared. Then we go on to the Carboniferous period. In Carboniferous period, the plants appeared in the form of bryophytes. This was the origin of bryophytes. And animals like reptiles originated in the Carboniferous period. Then we come quickly to the Permian period. In the Permian period, we see in plants primitive gymnosperms and pteridophytes became extinct. Yeah, and we see marine invertebrates became extinct, and land vertebrates and modern insects appeared in this period. After the Permian period, we come to the Triassic period of Paleozoic era, and in Triassic period we see dominant plants, plant life like seed ferns which appeared, and this was the time when dinosaurs, the first dinosaurs rose up, and the egg-laying mammals appeared. So this is that time. Now, having said that, let us come to the next era, which is the Mesozoic era. In the Mesozoic era, if we look at the first period, we see in the Jurassic period that there was dominance of modern ferns. Modern ferns dominated this time, And also angiosperms originated, and there was rise of toothed birds and reptiles which became dominant during this period. Then we come on to the Cretaceous period of Mesozoic era, which is divided into lower, middle, and upper Cretaceous period. And in this we see that the angiosperms became dominant, and in animals we see that there was extinction of giant dinosaurs during this period, and toothed birds also became extinct at this time. Then there was rise of reptiles, and modern birds came during this time period in the Upper Cretaceous Epoch. Now we come to the Cenozoic Era. In Cenozoic Era, again we have several epochs, and each epoch shows a regular evolutionary development in plants and animals. We see in Paleocene Epoch. In Paleocene Epoch, we see the rise of the first primate animals. Then in Eocene Epoch, we see the spread of angiospermic forests in plants, and there was diversification in placental mammals. Then in Oligocene Epoch, we see there is rise in the number of woody angiosperms. Then there was extinction of ancient mammals during Oligocene Epoch. Then we come on to Miocene Epoch. In this, we see there is a decrease in the forest area, and there was decrease in number of forests, and also the first man-like apes were formed. Then we come to Pliocene Epoch. In Pliocene Epoch, we see the spread of herbaceous dicotyledonous plants, and we also see the emergence of man and formation of modern mammals. Then we come to the Pleistocene Epoch, which saw the rise of primitive man and also extinction of some great mammals that existed during this time period. Then we come to the most modern, which is the Holocene Epoch, and we saw the dominance of herbaceous plants, modern animals, and also importantly the rise of the civilized man can be seen here. So we see that through fossil records we can see very clearly how evolution took place from simpler forms to higher forms. Now there is one more example. If you look at this diagram, we see that there are different time periods during which each horse developed from the previous primitive horse. And we see in the Eocene Epoch, the ancient horse or Eohippus came, and this was about 30 centimeter in height and had 4 digits in the forelimbs and 3 in the hind limb. These ate very soft vegetation. They lived on soft ground near streams, and so this soft ground was mostly ground that was boggy. We can say there were bogs or marshy areas here. Then we see in the Oligocene Epoch, the ancient horse developed to the Mesohippus, and this Mesohippus was now bigger than the fox-like Eohippus. This was bigger, and this was about 30 centimeter in height. And in this we see clearly reduction in number of digits. from 4 in the forelimb, it became 3 digits in each of the leg. And the speed was important, as during this era they had to escape from enemies, and the grasslands, they were damper during this time. So they had to escape from enemies. So slowly from this era onwards, the forests started becoming drier, and the prairie plains having lot of grass started appearing. So then we come to the Miocene Epoch. During this epoch, the fossils of Khipus horse are found, and here we see that the previous horse size again increased. Now this Meryhippus was about 100 centimeter high, the size of a small pony, with only 3 digits in each leg. Out of these, only the middle digit reached the ground. As we can see here, this digit has grown more than the other 2 digits, and we see that the middle digit only reached the ground. So this is an evolutionary development. Then we come on to the Pleistocene Epoch, and in the Pleistocene Epoch we see the horse which was called Equus resembled the modern horse. It was 150 to 165 centimeter high and had single digit in each limb. We can see that the single digit is finally fashioning into hooves, as we see in the hooves of horses these days. And we see that these evolutionary changes were in response to the changing environment, from the marshy lands to the lush green lands, and then to the present day dry grasslands. So this also describes through fossil records how evolution took place. Now let us quickly come on to our next example. Now this is an example of missing links. I sent the notes regarding this to you before. Let us study what missing links are. Missing links are fossils that are intermediate in their structure, exhibiting or showing features of 2 groups of living organisms. Example, Archaeopteryx. It is a fossil bird which is a missing link between reptiles and birds. This bird retained the features of reptiles. Now let us quickly see some of the features that this bird had from both aves, that is birds, and reptiles. Let us see some reptilian features. We see presence of teeth in the jaws. Then we see a long tail here with free caudal vertebra. Then we see weak keel-like sternum. We see here the weak keel-like sternum here. And we see solid bones and elongated lizard-like body. Lizard-like body here. These are some of the reptilian features. Then let us also see some avian features. Jaws are modified into beaks. We see that although the beak is there, it has jaws in it. So this is a proper reptilian jaw modified into a beak. Then we see presence of feathers on the body. You can see here presence of feathers, which is again an avian characteristic. And the 4 limbs, if you see here, although these 4 limbs have claws, the 4 limbs, they were modified into wings for flying. And the 4th characteristic we here see of aves is that the 4 toes in the foot, you can see here the 4 toes in the foot, they were they had adapted themselves to perch on branches or to perch on higher objects. So we see here also an evolutionary change through the fossils. So from next time, we will study about the evidences from morphology and anatomy in the fourth video. Till then, take care.